I've been wondering where to start, but I reckon this could be a good place to start. And I know you've spoken about it a bit, but I need to know about battle rapping. It blows my mind. How did you discover it? And then I've got so many other questions.
When I started rapping, I was like 14, and it was in the days of Napster and I think LimeWire as well, but I think mainly Napster. And like that was sort of my way of, I guess, figuring out what hip hop was, listening to all the classics and stuff. And I found all these like MP3 files that were from rap battles in America. There was a guy called ARIA.
Yep.
One of the first to really do it on a level that was absolutely killer. And he had a bunch of battles in there, and I was like, what is this? I was obsessed with rap at this time. And especially the art form of it, to the technical side of the rhyming. And also I really loved rappers who could incorporate like punchlines and funny wordplay and stuff like that into the raps. And then hearing this idea dude was like, he was doing it freestyled, so it was like,
I wasn't like pre-planned or anything.
Nah, so it's not pre-written. It's you don't even know who you're battling, and then you get up and you've just got to rap battle this guy, like diss them but with rhymes and make it funny and that. And it just blew my mind, and I became completely obsessed with it. And then started doing it myself on like rap battle forums.
Oh, that's how you found it. I would have never thought in Melbourne. It just blows my mind. Like, we've had like similar upbringings in a sense that this existed. And then you went on forums. Okay, that's how you found it. But how did you even know to look on the forums?
So I would go on, I think it was rapmusic.com back then. Yep. And they had these forums, and there was all these different sub forums or whatever they're called. And they would have rap battles, and I'd just click in there and see all these guys doing like 16 bar verses, and they were just going back and forth. Cool, and I was like, what even is this? Yeah. And they called it key styling or something like that instead of freestyling. And I started doing that and just getting that and that actually really helped me, because it helped refine the technical side of it, because I didn't really know what I was doing. And then I think I got more active on other websites with more traffic and all that kind of thing. And I started listening to, I think it was Triple R, which had an Aussie hip hop kind of station on it.
Yep.
And often they would have these rap battles at like Revolver upstairs, and they would televise them live on the radio. So I would listen to that, and I was like, I've got to do this.
Yeah, wow.
So then there was this battle called Run Amok, and they had it at the Cherry Bar in Melbourne. It was an under 18s rap battle event, and you'd just go there, you'd sign up. It was about 16 rappers would put their name in, and then they just pick you out of a hat, and you got to jump up and do it. So I was doing that.
Yeah.
And I was actually, to be honest, in those times it would be considered cheating, because I was going in there with a lot of stuff pre-planned.
Oh, really? Even if you, like, surely everyone pre-plans to a degree.
I think there's elements of that, yeah. But I think for in the hip hop scene, it was all about being pure. Like it was you got to be a real hip hop head, and real hip hop, you just got to freestyle off the dome. There's no pre-planning here. But I was going in there with like bars that I could use for anyone. It was like, okay, if I say this, it can apply to literally anyone. So I would go in there with bars and started really making a name for myself in that world. And
at what age? Sorry,
16.
Oh,
yeah, which was. It's kind of bizarre to think about, man, because like I think about now, I'm a lot more fearful than I was when I was a child. Like when I was 16, I was just jumping up there and just ready to crush it. And now as an adult, I'm a lot more like, I don't like being the center of attention. I don't like actually trying to crush someone kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's this weird, different dynamic now.
What do you think that is? Because I also feel that way. Like when I was doing, improv or like doing all this hustle and stuff, I just feel like it's not quite me anymore. Is it just you're young and you're hungry and you want to do anything to get to the top? Is it, what do you?
Yeah, I think it's that competitiveness. So like in the rap world, it's very competitive. It's all about being the big dog and like crushing others and destroying everyone and all that. And I had that dog in me when I was young, that I just wanted to destroy everyone. And I would go into battles and I'd be like, I'm going to ruin this person's life. Like, and you would literally go in there with that mentality. Like there's one battle where I pretty much did do that, and it actually had a real impact on his life, but I didn't care. It was like, this is what you sign up for kind of thing. And I think that's actually true. Like, if you're stepping in the ring, you've got to be prepared for them to say whatever they're going to say. You can't be kind of soft about it. But I think now it's just, I'm not that way inclined anymore. Like, I don't want to destroy people. I'm not that competitive anymore. I don't have that dog in me.
Would you do it again?
I would, but it would... I've been offered to do some battles, and I just can't enter with that kind of energy. If it was something more of like me doing it with someone that I know personally.
Yeah, then you can take away kind of that. You know what I mean? Like, if it's someone you know, you don't need to call them necessarily names and stuff like that. Is that
Yeah. I think there's still be a lot of dissing going on, but it won't be a genuine attempt to destroy one another. It'll be like, okay, this is just friendly competition. Yeah.
And with that person, you said you destroyed their lives. I'm sure it wasn't as bad as that. What did you mean by that?
So if you look it up, you can watch it. Is 360 verse Keynote. And,
yeah.
He's a lovely guy, but me and him had a bit of beef at that time, and I just think at the time he wasn't that good, and I played up to that, and he kind of became a little bit of a running joke in the scene. And then after that battle, he was caught on the news, like I think he was running a red light, and he like blew up at the person who was trying to interview him, and it was like he was constantly targeted as this joke of Australian rap kind of thing.
Yeah,
and I definitely contributed to that. But I actually like the guy. Like, I feel like he's a real sweetheart. But yeah, it was quite brutal, man.
Look, at the same time, you understand when you go to the ring, if you're in a boxing match, you know you're going to get punched in the head and
exactly.
stuff like that. Yeah, so
exactly. It's the cost of jumping in the ring, man. But yeah, it was pretty brutal, man.
And have you ever seen a guy, Harry Mack? Is that his name?
Yeah.
What do you think of that?
So, like, I think Harry Mack is phenomenal. I think I do think there are rappers that I know who freestyle. Like, there's a guy called Sharon who I think is a lot better, but Harry Mack is like, he's insane, bro. Like, his ability to just keep it going. You know what I mean? Like, I know this guy I'm mentioning, Sharon, he can like do these on the spot freestyles and just like comes up with the wildest stuff. Actually, incredibly technical, a lot of multis and stuff like that. Where I think Harry Mack's just flow is phenomenal. Like, I've seen him do some stuff that's just like, I don't know how this guy is real, you know.
One of my friends who's also been on this podcast, he interviewed him, and he's how do you get to that stage? How do you practice for something like that? Do you rap when you're outside and you see things?
I think like, I used to freestyle a lot in my shows and stuff like that. We would put on beats, and it just becomes like a muscle. It's like, the more you do it, the bigger and stronger that muscle gets. And he's obviously just doing it every single day. So it's like this sharpened skill.
I'm so blown away, but also by you, but, you know, seeing him, and as you said, keeps on going, he can throw words, and it looks like he never fucks up, but obviously that's not the case. Have you had many moments where you freeze, or you can't go ahead, or... Yeah,
I have.
Yeah,
I've had the full 8 Mile moment where going into this massive battle and choking. I've had that moment. It was against a guy called Kid Twist in Canada, and it was the world domination, it was called. And I didn't know that I was a drug addict at this time. So I had flown from Australia to Canada and then was just going through withdrawals. So I was like, what is even going on? What do I do here? So I started drinking. Hello.
So that's my wife.
Nice. I started drinking and was like, that was numbing the withdrawals feeling. And then I got a bunch of cocaine and was like, that's helping me. And I stayed up for like 3 days. And then I went into the battle, and I remember in my second round, I got the first round out all right. Second round, I just blanked out and was just like, this had never happened to me. It traumatized me, man. It was like,
Sure.
but it was good in the sense it lit a fire on me too. It was like, okay, I can never, ever let this happen again. And I came back to Australia with this like new inspiration to make sure that I over prepare and that I never let that happen again.
I like that you can still see the silver lining from an experience like that. What, you said it was traumatic. What did that mean? Because, the World Championship, this is a big deal. Your career and reputation's on the line. And on top of blanking out, like what was going on in your mind?
It was just very embarrassing. It's like at the time was like kind of this guy who was considered the Australian battle rap. Hey, buddy.
Hi, buddy.
Hey.
Oh, buddy.
So I was considered like one of the top Australian rappers. So I was representing Australia at the same time. I had people who had invested in me to go there. They'd paid for my tickets.
Oh, okay.
So I was sort of representing Australia, and I just did it in a miserable way. Yeah, man. That sucked. And also there was so many legends there. There was so many battle rappers that I look up to and idolized, and they were all just watching me crash and burn. So that's just embarrassing, man.
Do they remember it?
For sure. I think they remember it, but I think everyone has those moments. Like all of my biggest heroes in the battle rap world have all had those moments. So it's like, you just got to keep it moving. If you can't let that kind of thing define you, because you can get all scared and be like, oh, I can't do this again. If that happens again, I'm dead, kind of thing.
Yeah.
You just got to make sure it doesn't happen again.
That's so great because when people go through traumatic experiences, they can be, that's it, I'm done, I'm not doing this again. But you actually dedicated yourself more to the craft, which is amazing. Not many people are like that.
I think it's fair when some people do have that traumatic experience and go, yeah, no, this isn't for me, because it is intense. Yeah. It is rather debilitating, but yeah, you got to pick yourself up. Otherwise, you won't do anything. If something goes wrong, you know what I mean? You can be stopped. You got to have that attitude, like nothing can stop me.
That's very interesting. I've been thinking about that for a while. And from the nerve side, I think I read or heard that you used to be quite nervous doing the rap battles. What would help you with that? Or how did you get your brain? How did you slow it down? Because you have to be very quick thinking. You can't be in your head, right? You have to go bam, 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 bam.
I think having a drink always helped, or getting high on a drug or something like that.
Wouldn't that cloud your thinking?
It depends what it was. For me, it was always downers. So it was like when I was that real nervous, it would just make me feel super calm. So I would just come out of my shell more.
Okay.
Very strange, man. Like I would take things like Xanax or like codeine and stuff like that, and it would actually fire me up, even though it was something that you just want to be chilled out on. But I think like from a healthy point, the best way to deal with the nerves is to be so prepared that even when you have those nerves that are quite debilitating and crippling, you can still do it anyway. Like you still know what you're going to say. And then I think what happens for me anyway, is as soon as I start rapping, those nerves turn to excitement, and it's like nice. That adrenaline kicks in, and it's like you find your little zone. But it is just that lead up. Yeah, it's the lead up before you start rapping that is really hard.
That's so interesting. Like I know, maybe whether it's stand up comedy or improv, sometimes that the nerves can be so overwhelming. But then when you're on the stage, like, well, you have to go, But I've seen so many people just not be able to embrace the pressure. So it's so interesting how one can flip that switch. What are the nerves like when you, as opposed to battle rapping, as when you're performing? Are they different nerves?
Battle rapping was much worse, I think.
Yeah, I would think so.
Because it's like in this environment where you're surrounded by people and there's just like a little circle for you there kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, gotcha.
I'd get in my head, and I think it was a bit of imposter syndrome as well. It would be like me thinking, oh man, everyone's going to find out that I'm not really that good today or something like that. And when you're on stage, it's like you're elevated above the crowd rather than in a pit with them.
Yeah.
But again, it's just that lead up, and then once you start, it's sweet. It's interesting. Did you find that with like doing improv and stuff? Would that lead up be so debilitating it's almost not worth it?
Well, I never did it at a high level, but I'll just say like from the classes perspective before I actually started performing. In like the first few classes, I'd get so nervous and I never experienced nerves. Like you can ask my wife, well, she wasn't around then, but that sounds like she was dead. But it was more like I wasn't a nervous person. But then I guess because I felt like this was who I am and part of my identity, that I was like showing myself. And if I wasn't funny, then that's like an attack on my identity. And I really struggled for like the first two. And then I realized I had to work through a lot of it and realize, I'm fine. And if I think like that, I'm not going to be able to perform. And I was just putting myself on a pedestal, which didn't exist. But
so it was in a class setting.
Yes, at that stage. And then when I did occasionally perform, I was much, much better.
So how many people would that be?
In the performance?
In the class?
In the class, probably around 20.
20. See, I still think that's quite hectic.
Yeah, that's like the sweet spot for the most embarrassing.
Yeah, man. And like, if I'm rapping, I feel like if I'm getting up to 1,000 people, that I don't find that nerve-wracking anymore.
Yeah.
But if I'm getting up and performing to like a small crowd, where it's, especially if it's a corporate vibe where people are just standing around and it's not like rowdy, that I find hard, especially if I'm not rapping, if I'm just getting up to do a talk or something.
Oh, okay.
That I find quite hard. It's like,
yeah,
it throws me off. I think I'm just so used to rapping that's what I'm comfortable with.
So are you doing a lot more talks now?
Yeah, I want to be, yeah. Like,
well, you've got a great story.
Love to be, I want to start going to schools and just talking about my experience with drugs, with fame, because I think so many of them will look up to that kind of thing and think that that's something to strive for, which I definitely did when I was young, but quickly realized that it wasn't what I thought it was going to be. So I would definitely love to, I'd love to do it at schools, definitely at churches as well, but I've got so much more to learn before I think I can step into that role of being able to do it from a sort of authority or teaching perspective. I think at the moment all I can do is just share my story.
Yeah. What do you mean from the authority? Because you're the expert on your life. Are you talking about from all the church setting?
So more the church setting. So like anything that's teaching theology or teaching the way the Bible is to be understood, anything like that, I think I'm keen to learn to do, but I think I won't be ready to get up there and teach for a long time. Because I think there's so much, you've got such a responsibility to get it so accurate and know what you're talking about, where I think the problem with a lot of churches in like America especially is people like become a Christian and will be like, okay, now I'm just going to start a church without really knowing the history of it or what the ins and outs of it actually are. Like it's quite rich. So I think having that understanding before doing that is really important.
Yeah, even though that's not in necessarily my space, but I agree. You want. It's like with anything as well. You want to have a clear understanding. Like this is, you're starting a restaurant. I know it's a terrible example. You want to understand like where you get your food and all of that stuff.
It's actually a good example.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I might have to cut that bit out. Maybe we'll dive into, because I think it's so awesome that you're doing these things. You've got an amazing story. Maybe we'll dive into, you mentioned drugs and fame was quite challenging for you. Was it a moment when you're at Byron Bay where you overdosed and this is kind of like, it's the next phase of your journey. Do you want to just tell us what was going on at the time?
Yeah, man, this is a hectic time for me. Like when my music had taken off, it was like I never was someone who was using drugs to escape. It was like I would do it on the weekends to make a good time even better. There was no element of me trying to avoid some pain or discomfort or anything like that.
Oh, that's interesting.
Which is abnormal.
Yeah.
They reckon. I was just having fun, and then the music career took off, and I came into all this money, And it was like, why stop? Let's go. Like I've been looking up to artists who are full rock stars and like heroin addicts and stuff like that. And I romanticize that. Like I would read books like Scar Tissue and the Motley Crue autobiographies and stuff like that. And I'd be like, I want to be that. I don't know why. I'd just be like, oh, they're having sex with all these women. They're famous. Everyone loves them. They're rich. And the element of the drug addiction didn't scare me. It made me even more enticed, I think, because I was dabbling in drugs or drinking.
It's very interesting because you're not the first person, you're not going to be the last person where they're very alluded to their lifestyle, especially the drugs. I've always been trying to figure out what it is. Or is it that all that other stuff comes with it? So
I think it was all of it. It was like I wanted to be a rock star, and I thought that's what a rock star had to be. They had to be a trash bag. Like I thought Amy Winehouse was really cool, even though she was a full crackhead and like so skinny and unhealthy. And I mean, she was sick, so I don't mean to say that in a disparaging way, but when I was looking up to her, I was like, these guys that she's with, there's something about them that I just like. I love that trash bag look and that lifestyle. So yeah, it was just like, let's go. Let's just keep this party going. And I never really understood addiction was something that once you cross that line, you can't really come back to being a normal person again. Well, you can, but it just takes a lot of work and a lot of healing. So by the time I'd done my second album, I was a full-blown addict. I was getting prescriptions for OxyContin, 80 milligrams, which is the strongest you can legally get. And it's for people dying of cancer. And I was going in there and telling my doctor that I was like, I was very manipulative. Like I was able to act and like cry, and on the spot I could just start bawling my eyes out like I was really upset because there was a lot going on, I guess, you know. And then he would give me these scripts every week, and then I'd go back and say I lost it, and he'd give me another one. It was just like this
what a shit doctor.
vicious cycle, man.
Do you think, and we won't name the doctor, but is that not a malpractice? And
potentially, but I think I was super manipulative, man. I think I played on his emotions a lot. Like I was able to twist him in a way that made him feel sorry for me. Yeah. And I think he probably thought he was helping me. But so like I was on all these prescription drugs, which was like really high class stuff. And I had this tour coming up, and I was like, okay, I'll go to the doctor. I was like, I'm going on this tour, so I need supplies for like 2 months. So he gave me all this stuff, and I was like, okay, awesome. I'm going to be sweet. And I did them in the first week before the tour even started. You know what I mean? It was typical addict stuff.
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, what do I do? I've got to go out on a tour in like a week. So I just went around to different pharmacies buying Nurofen Plus, which has codeine in it, but it's ibuprofen instead of paracetamol, so you can have a high dose of it.
Oh, so did you like have a strong understanding of how much you could take? Like how was that through like Googling, or you trial and error, a bit of both?
Trial and error. Through some people that I know as well who have been through the same thing. They were like, you can actually take as much as this as you want, and the ibuprofen won't kill you, like it won't be good for you.
Yeah.
But you can get high doses of codeine by doing that. So I was like smashing. I remember it started, man. It only started with 4 tablets, and I remember that tour vividly. I would get really hungover in the morning. I would have 4 Nurofen Plus. I would have 4 of them, and I'd feel awesome. I'd be like, this is like a superpower. And it just gradually snowballed into like eventually having a full packet, then having 2 full packets. And then by this tour, I would have to have 3. So that was like 90 tablets, which wouldn't even make me feel high. My tolerance was that high. I just used to take them not to feel sick.
Yeah. To deal with the downers, like the downs. Sorry.
Yeah. It was so like, because I was an addict, if I didn't have them, I would go through crazy withdrawals, feel so sick and just out of my mind. So that was when the drug taking became to escape a feeling.
Yeah. Because
it had gone so far that's what happens when you're an addict. You've got to withdraw from it. And so I packed my suitcase with all this Nurofen Plus, and was having 3 a day. And I feel like Byron Bay was probably the first week. After the first week of shows, everything was going really well. And then I was like, I just want to feel something. So I had 4 packets. And I can't even remember what happened, but apparently I just started convulsing on the floor. They called the ambos. They wheeled me out. The whole thing got cancelled. The whole show got cancelled. Then they were like, they cancelled the entire tour. I woke up in the hospital on suicide watch with someone like sitting with me thinking that I tried to kill myself. They brought my luggage in, which they had opened, and they saw all these boxes in there. And I was like, look, I was trying to say I would never kill myself, but that is just what I'm doing on a daily basis. And they just wouldn't believe me. And then they were like, they just handed me a phone. They're like, it's your parents or it's your mum. And they didn't know what I was doing. So like they knew I was a bit of a party animal, but they did not know that I was a daily user. So I had to come clean to mum, say I'm a full addict. I need to go to rehab and stuff, which like you can imagine from a naive parent's perspective who love their child very much, to hear something like that, to think they're maybe party a bit, but not to know the extent of it like that, that really, really smashed them. I flew back to Melbourne, got into like a little detox center for a month. Yeah.
What's involved in the detox center?
So they just gradually wean me off, help you go through the withdrawals. They try to give you like almost like therapy to help you understand why you're using.
And mentally, could you take it in at that point?
I don't think so. I don't think I was ready to. I just thought it was like something I had to do because I'd been caught. You know, I didn't really want to stop. I think I was just doing it because I'd been exposed as an addict, so I better do it for my parents, I better do it for my management and just try and sort my life out.
Yeah.
No, I didn't want to.
And then what became the strong desire to, actually beat this, if that's the right way of saying this? Like what was your why?
Man, it took me years after that. I think that would have been about 2014, and then it was 2020 when I went to rehab again for like 4 months. That was like I went for a month the first time. Then it was 4.5 months in 2020.
Yep.
And that was the moment where I was like, okay, I want to stop.
Okay.
I really want to stop now, but I still couldn't. Like I was in rehab, I was messing up in rehab. I just had this habit that anytime I felt any kind of discomfort, that was my way of dealing with it. And it became the only way I knew how to.
Are you allowed to leave the facility?
You're allowed to go on walks with like people from the rehab, but they have to be supervised, or when you get like 2 months in and they feel they can trust you, you're allowed to go out. Maybe to it was in like this country town, so you could go out to the shops or something like that. But they always breath tested you and like drug tested you when you come back.
So then how were you, inverted commas, messing up, or in terms of just...
Yeah, so that's a great question. So I was on methadone at this time, which is a replacement drug for heroin.
Yeah.
And I was also on this hectic benzodiazepine, which is like Valium or Xanax and stuff like that, which they were trying to reduce and help me wean off. So every 2 hours I'd get a Valium tablet, and I'd take that. I was meant to take that. So what I was doing was I would put it under my tongue, walk around the corner, take it out of my tongue, put it in a little plastic bag, and then in my room, when I had a whole bunch of them, I'd just take them all at once so I could feel something.
Yep.
Which is a big no-no in rehab. Like if you get caught doing that, they kick you out. But I was so unwell. I was just a sick boy.
Thank you for sharing that. What is, because you've inspired so many people, and you would have heard so many people say how your story's impacted them positively. What has made you want to share your story?
I think just wanting to be honest about what's happened in my life, in the hopes that people going through the same thing can realize there is a way out. To also realize you're not alone when you go through it. Like I always thought no one could understand what I was going through, but Didn't realize that there's actually so many people that are going through it as well.
Yeah.
And I think just to be transparent, it's like in the past I've tried to lie about it a lot. Like when I was releasing albums and I was still on drugs and stuff like that, I'd be like, I'm clean, you know. I would say I'm not even in active addiction, even though I was on all these medications and pretty much abusing them still. I just feel where I'm at now, I feel like I have to be completely transparent about it. I don't want to lie about anything anymore.
Is that to keep you accountable?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
sure.
interesting.
Because if I mess up again and I've been telling lies, I feel like I just can't live with myself if I do that. So I need to be completely straight up about it.
I'm sure at the start, because you also mentioned in previous interviews that you're a people pleaser. I'm sure at the start it would be hard, but now living an authentic life for you, that would be quite rewarding.
Yeah, for sure. It's confronting at the start, just like you said, man. I think you want people to love you and approve of you so badly that you'll do anything for that approval. But it's interesting when you actually be your authentic self, people approve of you much more.
But sometimes there's this short-term lag where, you know, maybe you're surrounding, I'm not saying you surround yourself with the wrong people. I'm just talking about for like a relationship point of view. I know that when I live a more authentic life, I decided I was just going to be more authentic to who I am. And then that caused issues with some friends. This is many years ago. And I realized that there was short-term pain, but now long-term, how I am with my friends. And, you know, unfortunately I had to like cut some friends, not like, you're not my friend anymore.
Yeah.
But I decided to surround myself with people maybe that was better for me in that sense. That, you know, short-term pain but long-term gain means I can be more myself and less judged or attacked for it.
So were you a people pleaser?
Yeah, massive.
Yeah. And when was this?
I probably still am, but way less so.
Yeah.
And I've had to make some. I've had to make like I'm just seeing in my head all these different moments in my life, and it's all coming back. What was your question in terms?
When was this?
I think my whole life, and it's probably only been in the last maybe in the last 7 years, where I've had to be more authentic and be like, you know what, that's not okay, or just put my hand up,
like put out boundaries and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly, or just exactly putting boundaries, or being like, that's, you know, don't speak to me that way. I was a bit of a punching bag. This was many years before that, and it just wasn't serving me, and that was really hard because it was it's you know, a family value as well. And now it's still, I'm not perfect whatsoever, but my life's so much better just removing that. It's something so small.
It is. Yeah. It feels small, but it's not at the time, hey? And it's interesting how the people who you will distance yourself from, or who distance themselves from you when you start laying boundaries, are probably only there because you had none in the first place.
Yes.
It's really interesting, man. I was exactly the same, just couldn't lay boundaries, couldn't stand up for myself. Or, not that I couldn't, but it was like I thought that if I did, everyone would abandon me. I thought I'd be alone.
Yes, I've had that as well. So when did you realize that wasn't the case?
It was a process of when I got out of rehab. Like, man, I remember going into the rehab like, I've got to find myself because I've lost myself. Because I feel like when you're a people pleaser, you compromise on your integrity so much.
Yes, you said that much better than me.
And you it's not like you lose yourself very quickly. It's like the way my mentor put it was like the death of 1,000 cuts. So over time, you compromise on things that you should be speaking up about so many times that you end up losing sight of who you are completely, because you're just like going along with what you think people think you should be going along with. It's like, and it's this very distorted idea in your head too, and it usually stems from a parent. Like I know where mine stems from.
I've definitely got that as well.
Yeah, and
it's all out of, you know, kindness and love, and, you know, it's generally a more positive, negative emotion. Does that make sense? You know, people pleasers mean well, but it has negative consequences. If that makes sense, it's not like, you know what I mean? Like when people talk about like negative emotions, you know, I talk about like narcissism and all that stuff. People pleasing is the positive of the negative. I just say that in terms of, it all comes from love, but it's very important what you say from an integrity point of view. I know that when you were first starting out, I think it was Pez maybe helped you with this. You thought that you had to be kind of someone else or be a certain image. So is that kind of when it started, planting seeds? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Like to be a people pleaser.
Oh yeah, from the people pleasing side. It might be in this. I just remember you were talking about you thought you had to be a certain way as a rapper, and then Pez said, "No, just be yourself." Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yep,
So is that kind of when the seeds were planted about this journey?
Yeah. Like I think that I was always trying to fit in, and in the rap world, it was like a lot of the people that were popular in the rap circles at that time were from probably lower class dudes from the streets and stuff like that. So I was like from a middle class family where I was like, okay, I don't fit in. They're not going to accept me, and subconsciously thought that I had to pretend I was from the streets.
Isn't that really interesting? Is that just, the look of a rapper? Like where does that come from? Because I know that it did impact you thinking you had to be a certain way to be a rapper.
I think it was like you see when you like it's popped off quite a lot now where you see a lot of the lads like they'll be at the station, have like rat tails or like they'll have the TNs and stuff like that, and they yell at people walking past them, or like they're staunch and stuff like that. Or maybe they were back in the day, like these station rat kids. They would carry knives and stuff like that, and for some reason I looked up to that. And I think now it's become more of a trend. It's more of an aesthetic thing rather than an actual kind of lifestyle. But yeah, I just thought I had to adopt that kind of both the image, but I was never that way inclined. Like I would act like I was, but if someone tried to step to me and actually try me, I would just shrink straight away. You know what I mean?
Interesting. And then was it through that advice of Pez about, be you?
Yes, at first it was like it was. I started that was more when it came to making music, like just be who you are in your music. But I was still people pleasing at the same time. It's interesting because like the music I think has always come from a really authentic place.
Oh, that's amazing.
Because like I struggled saying things, especially laying boundaries or standing up for myself. So the way that I would do it is through music.
Yeah.
So and it's actually interesting because like I would talk about certain things that were going on in my life, and then people would hear it and be like, "Dude, we had no idea. Like, why don't you tell us these things?" And I'd just be like, "I don't know. Like, I can't. I find it almost impossible to talk about these things." But then I would rap about it really easily.
That's so interesting because it's obviously very healing for you.
Very much so. And so definitely like I noticed the fruit of that when I started embracing who I was in my music. People gravitated towards that authenticity, but I don't think what people realized that like in person, one-to-one or in private, I was still very much trying to seek people's approval. So it was like this dynamic or polarity of like who I was as an artist and who I was as a person was a lot different. And started working with a life coach and was like, dude, I need help I'd been working with a therapist for years, and it got to the point where I was like, it feels like we're just talking about this trauma and it's just on loop. It's like, it's not actually, we're not getting past any of it. We're just dwelling in it, and I'm becoming a victim. Yeah. So I was like, I need to work with a coach. So I found this guy called Anthony Nowd, and he was, phenomenal guy, someone I really look up to, and has come from a similar background as me with addiction and stuff like that, and it just turned his life around. Was a massive people pleaser, and this guy's one of the most honest and upfront guys I know. So he started teaching me how to do it, and it was very it's really interesting.
To not people please.
Yeah. It was basically like putting on training wheels to be a man. Like, it was like going through this kind of period of like, this is how you should be behaving. Like, and I remember there'd be people that had been taking advantage of me, and I would be so angry at them, but I just kept letting it go. And he was like, this is the perfect time for you to say something. And I was like, man, I can't, I'm so fearful, I can't do it. So I would do it through email at the start. Like I would write a big email and scathing email, say exactly how I feel, but then add a bit of love in there to make it not too harsh.
Like a compliment set.
Yeah. It's like you've got a good heart and all this, but you are taking advantage, and it's just become a full piss take now. So look, I don't want you to contact me anymore. But like in a very long email.
Yeah.
And then it was like, he was like, you've just got to do this in small bits, like train yourself that you have to stand up for yourself. You actually have to say what you're thinking. Otherwise you're dishonoring yourself. And this is the way you gain respect for yourself again, because like I said before, I've been compromising on my integrity so much, and that death of 1,000 cuts had just become so brutal. Like I had never stood up for myself, that I had no respect for myself anymore.
Oh, interesting.
It's really interesting. Like, the whole time in rehab, I was like, I need to find my voice. I need to find out who I am. I need to figure out what I stand for, what my values are, because all I wanted was people's approval so badly that the things that I stood for were depending on what they actually approved of, not what I believed. So I didn't know what my principles were, what my values were, or anything like that. And I just thought I need to find myself. So working with my coach, he helped me do that.
That's so cool.
It's interesting, man. It's phenomenal to think now, like I have no problem standing up for myself now and putting someone in their place. Like I think because I've been a people pleaser, I know how to do it in a way that's a lot more tactful, I guess. It's not like I won't just slap someone down. I'm hyper aware of what is going to be construed as offensive and what's not. So I do it in a gentle way, but very firm now.
That resonates with me. I've got so many examples, but now when people do certain things to me, I'll approach them like, hey man, like I really don't appreciate that. This is why. And people are so like taken aback often when you just, that's my approach of doing it. Like I really didn't appreciate it. And more times than not, they're like, oh, I'm so sorry. Like you're right. I didn't realize. And I was like, well, it's that easy. And now my friends say, like in a joking way, that I'm more conflict driven. I don't see it as conflict whatsoever. I see it as that like 20-second conversation of like a bit of misery and pain. But then, as I said, long-term amazingness, your relationship, if it's received in a way that how do I say this? But if it's received in a way that's, acceptable for oneself, then you can move forward. And so now I do it so much more. I think that's so important.
And when was it hard when you first started doing that?
Well, there was actually one example. This is going to sound ridiculous, and it's probably going to get me into trouble. There's so many examples, but this one guy kicked me out of his NBA fantasy. So we used to do NBA fantasy for years, and I actually created it. And this guy, and I mean this with the highest form of love, there's some stuff going on. And, often when people get angry at you, it's a mirror towards what's going on with their life as well. And I think I'm one of some people that triggers him for certain reasons. We don't really have much of a relationship, but it's always like, hi, how you going? And he kicked me out of the group because he just wanted his friends in it or whatever. And then we're at a wedding and he didn't know anyone. So he comes up to me and he's like, Michael, my buddy, how you going? And he never said, hey, look, I want to go in a different direction, all of that. And I just said like, hey man, I really don't appreciate that. Like, you know what's just happened. You pretend like nothing's happened, and now you're pretending I'm your best friend because you don't know anyone at this wedding.
Good on you, man.
And he was so taken aback. It actually didn't go the way that I wanted to, but we're not friends, but he won't do stuff like that anymore. And it was just like someone actually called him out, and it was uncomfortable, but one of many examples, and I actually feel so empowered doing that. And you can be like, you fucking asshole. Why'd you do
can
that?
destroy them.
Yeah, and I could have. And he also felt bad and was a bit in denial and all of those things. So that's not my style. And look, maybe sometimes that is an approach. But if I ever raise myself to anger, and I was angry, but I knew that wouldn't work. If I ever raise myself to anger, it's not going to be received well as well. So with and also just on your life coach, I studied kinesiology. You probably don't know what that is. And for a few years. And that was also received quite negatively from people because people didn't know what it was. And I found that, and it sounds like similar-ish to the life coaching, instead of going around in a loop on the trauma, there's like different actionable things that you can do to actually work on the issue. So how did you find the mentor? Because the life coach, I think that's so awesome that you found someone that works with you and can see you for who you are and then give you all these actionable items. I love this stuff. So yeah.
So I met with a friend of mine and I was talking to her about it, and she'd been a massive people pleaser, and like I noticed that she wasn't at all when I knew her. So it was like she was very direct. I was like, "What? How did you get this way?" And we would have this discussion about it, and she's like, "Oh, I was actually working with this life coach, and he helped me understand why I was doing that and how to actually get past it." And she was like, "I'll introduce you." And as soon as I met this guy, it was just like an instant, like, yeah, this guy is definitely someone I want to work with.
That's so cool.
Someone who embodies what you would like to become as a man, I guess, but weren't quite doing it.
As in, you weren't quite doing it? Or?
Yeah. Sorry, I wasn't quite doing it. Like the person I desired to be was like someone who would tell the truth unapologetically, in a kind way, and someone who was authentic, someone who stood up for themselves, someone who was a strong leader. But I'd just been so debilitated by this people pleasing for so long that I wasn't living that way at all, and he embodied that. Like, he was someone who really had that.
It's very rare to meet someone who walks the talk. There's so many people, and look, no one's perfect whatsoever, but I met so many people where it can just be in like life where they portray themselves in one way, and then you see them in another environment, you're like, bro, what are you doing?
Yeah, it's an act, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm a bit repulsed by that. That being said, no one's perfect, but if you're pretending to be a certain way that you're not, do you know what I mean? Like, it sometimes can be like that at like greasy car salesmen. I know so many people like that. I'm sure you've met people like that as well.
Hundreds.
Is it common in your line of work to meet a lot of people that take advantage of you?
Yeah, for sure. Oh man, I wasn't ready for that. I remember when I first became like famous, it was suddenly I was around people who were like, "Let's go." They were just like, "Let's party, let's get on the drugs," and it's, when suddenly when I wasn't, like, my profile was up here, they were keen, but then when it was down here, everyone scatters. It's like they're your friend when you're killing it and everyone wants to know you, but then when no one does, they're not actually your friend at all.
Isn't that crazy? So was that also a tough pill to swallow, or you're grateful?
Yeah, but I think, to be honest, it was a bit of a lesson in, to always acknowledge what I'm feeling in my gut. Like, whatever my gut is telling me.
That's amazing.
To embrace it and believe what it's saying, because there's so many people I've come in contact with. I've got a real funny feeling about this guy. This doesn't feel right, but I'll just go along with it anyway because I won't want to upset them or something like that. But every time I feel like the gut was right.
Isn't that interesting? Because I feel like you're talking about intuition. Trusting one's gut is like my favorite topic in the world. But when you people please, you can almost pull that away. And then as you work on it, it's like a muscle, as you said. So the more you trust your gut, the easier it is to hear it, feel it, see it as well. So if you notice your intuition is just so much stronger, or you're able to recognize it better now?
Yeah, absolutely. But I think when you go against what your intuition is telling you to do, especially when it's screaming at you and you just keep denying it, it's like the biggest form of self-betrayal.
Yeah.
It's like you let yourself down constantly. I actually feel like it's selling your soul. Like, you compromise so much to the point where you're just abandoning yourself. So now it's like although there's times I feel like in those heightened states, say if it's a confrontation thing, or like someone's offering me opportunities and I'm really excited, I can't often connect with it. It's like sometimes it will take me a couple days.
Yeah, because in the moment there's a lot happening as well, just sitting and reflecting and doing what you do. Yeah, I'm the same. Yeah,
it's like there's a lot of noise going on up here, so that disconnects me from what's going on here.
Yeah.
So I need to get, one thing I need to do is get used to telling people, let me think on it.
Oh, that's great.
let
A
me
lot
have a
of
think
people
on
want the answer there and then. So
Yeah.
are you like really good with, let me just come back?
Yeah. Let me pray on it for a few days, and I'll let you know. Because there's so many times where it feels good in my head, it sounds right, and I don't want to let them down, so I'll just say yes, and then in a week's time I'll be like, actually, I don't think I want to do that.
Yeah.
And then it's a harder conversation to have then.
Definitely. And just while this springs to mind as well, you sort of made a transition in terms of your music now that you speak more about your relationship with God and Jesus and all of that stuff. Was that, I'm not quite sure how to word this, was that a bit scary to reveal to your audience?
Oh man, it was so scary. It was like, oh man, I used to hate Christians so much. When people talk about Christ, I would be like, who is this psycho? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
That's so funny. You just lit up. Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
And then to become that is very, very funny, because it's like being the ultimate people pleaser, then becoming the one thing that really displeases a lot of people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then suddenly have to embrace it. I feel like it's a testimony to how quickly you can be transformed.
Yeah.
Because like, man, right when we were announcing this tour, I start proclaiming the name of Jesus and like shouting from the rooftops that I've been born again and all this kind of thing. And it's like, we've just put these tickets on sale. I don't think many of the people who listen to our music are Christian. So it's like a lot of people are like, what are you doing, man? This is crazy. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think this is a good marketing move. You know what I mean? But it's something that I just can't help but share, because it's like, this is where my life's going. This is, it's like God has healed me from so much already, that I can't not talk about it. But it's, I think it's about doing it in a way that is tactful. Because I think when anyone becomes like born again Christian, like has this radical spiritual encounter, they're just like, I just want to share this with everyone. And it gets to the point where you can do it so much that it pushes people away.
Yeah, sometimes people can't hear it. Like maybe I was doing improv, or I used to do Krav Maga, and I would not shut up talking about it. I was just like, Krav Maga, I don't look like a guy that do Krav Maga. I talk about it all the time. I'm like, you should do it. And people are like, okay. You know what I mean? Like, so you're right. There needs to be a way to deliver it, because if you constantly like, yeah.
I think I'm learning to be more tactful and learning to say it in a way that's not just like ramming it down people's throats,
Yeah, that's how you can get the message out a bit clearer. I love that you burst out laughing, saying that you used to laugh at people like that, and now this is who you are. Have you noticed, because tying up to what we were talking about earlier on, people respect you for being who you are? Have you noticed that more people are like, you know what, but you do you, we're still going to support you?
Yeah, that's a great question. There was a bit of a mixed bag. So like when I first started, it was really interesting, because I was like exploring it, and I was very cynical about it, and I was sharing about my doubts and the things that I didn't believe. I was like openly talking about. And then there was this moment where it pivoted and I started believing. And I remember when I shared, okay, I believe in this. Like I genuinely believe Jesus is the Son of God, and God in the flesh, and I'm going to give my life to him. There was a lot of like instant backlash. It was like the people that were watching this kind of journey of me exploring it to then get to the point where I believed it were just like, nah, done.
Oh, interesting.
Lost thousands of followers on when I shared that.
Really?
Yeah, it was very interesting.
I would have just thought people would be like, you do you, I still like your music. Who cares?
Yeah.
It's not like you're talking about like some like political topic where like people are dying and like, we can't support you because you're you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's, I grew up Jewish. I like, good for you. That's as soon as I heard it, was like, great. Like, I'm glad that you felt like, why?
Yeah, man, I think it's because like some of the people that I knew that stopped following me are very, how would you say? I'd say very caught up in culture war stuff.
Okay.
So I think to them, becoming a Christian is like becoming a far right, and they were like quite left leaning. So it's like this.
That's hilarious. I never understood how religion would be a right or a left topic.
Yeah, it definitely shouldn't be. Yeah, but I noticed that like it was like a lot of those people, it was like, okay, so he's just going to the right wing now. This is his new path. But at the same time, man, there's there's been a lot of support and a lot of people who are like, yeah, we're not going to become Christian, or like we don't see eye to eye with where you're going spiritually, but we support you.
Yeah, that's what I just would have thought is the default. That blows my mind.
And they've known how much I've struggled with addiction, and that this has actually healed me from that. So I think it's like, that's awesome. You know?
Yeah, to see the positive.
So you grew up Jewish.
Yeah.
Did you believe?
I went to a Jewish school. I believe in like the universal God. I don't know how to put a label to it, but this is so embarrassing for my school. I don't know if I learned anything, if that makes sense. I didn't really. I would say I'm more a spiritual person.
Yeah.
So there's definitely a lot of overlap as well. But I went to a Jewish school for most of my, like probably from year 2 onwards. But I don't remember the teachings or anything.
Really?
Yeah. Maybe I wasn't listening. I don't know. But I've definitely come around to more of a spiritual path.
It's really interesting. Is that in a sense of like they teach you the story of like Abraham and?
I don't even know if they did that. I think it was more, they won't approve of this message. I think it was more everyone just happens to be Jewish and you live your path, and there were some like teachings. Right. It wasn't quite like the Catholic schools that I'm aware of where there's a lot of like teachings. Yep. We did have like certain classes and stuff, but a lot of it was more, how do I phrase this? Like the learnings and how you can apply it to the life now. Right. Like this is a story. How would you apply like the teachings and the lessons? Does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure.
So it's more from that regard.
Okay.
Yeah. I liked it.
Yeah.
But I just want to tie up the rehab and the drugs and all that stuff.
Yep.
What was it like coming back after, I think it was like a 6-year hiatus?
8.
Oh, it was 8.
From album. Yeah.
From album. Yeah. What was that like? What were the nerves like? What was the...
Oh man. So when I got out of rehab, like I was convinced that I was going to hit the ground running and just start touring and making music again. But it was like, man, I was a shell of my former self. I was like, not good. I was not happy. I was just a mess. But I was pretty like, dedicated to like, all right, I'm just going to turn my life around and get back into the music and stuff. But I remember I did there was like 6 songs that I made in, I think it was 2023. And I was like, no matter how these songs turn out, I just have to put them out. And it's like I got to the point where I was paranoid. I was like, I was convinced that these songs were so bad, and there was some like political elements to these songs that I was talking about. And I thought it was going to expose me. It was like in my head, it was this distorted idea of what was going to happen. Like I had built it up to be this big thing. Yep. But I was like, I need to just commit to doing it anyway. That was probably the hardest thing I think I've done. One of the hardest things I've done, because I was never scared of putting myself out there before. I was always like embracing it head on and just being like, this is my music. If you don't like it, sweet. But I think because I was starting to be more honest about certain political things, I was convinced that you just couldn't do that in Australia. And then when I put it out, everything I thought it was going to be wasn't at all. Like people got around it.
Oh, nice.
I was able to start touring off it. And I remember the first tour out, from when I got out of rehab, like I was so nervous. It was bad. I genuinely felt like if this is what touring is going to be, I do not want to do this. Like I might have to stop. That was tough. Because it was like, this is my job. This is the only thing I know how to do. I've never had a proper job. Well, I have had proper jobs before music, but just like
a chippy.
Yeah, chippy. I did Jim's mowing for a bit. I was a waiter. Delivered Thai food and stuff. So just odd jobs, really. Yeah. But never had a career.
You thought your career was done.
I thought if I was going to feel this way on tour, it's not worth it.
And you mentioned paranoid. Was that because, you've gone through rehab, you're, starting back at inverted commas, the start in terms of mentally dealing with all the stuff that you're dealing with? Was it more just a mental hurdle or just?
So I think it was because I went to rehab 2020, right? This was right when COVID was kicking off. I got out during stage 4 lockdowns.
Really?
So life was just crazy.
Yeah.
Then I was terminally online because I was so sick. I couldn't really do anything. Or that was what I was telling myself. I couldn't do anything. So all I was doing was scrolling Twitter.
Yeah, yeah.
And it was dark, man. It was like in the times of the COVID vaccines where like there was such this like war between the pro-vax and the anti-vax. And I had no idea what to make of any of it. But I was watching like a lot of the scientists that were trying to speak up and say, hey, this isn't necessary. There's these other ways like therapeutics you can use and stuff like that. All of them were getting censored and banned for talking out. So I started noticing this and going, wait, this is weird. Like surely the scientists would be able to speak about science things and stuff like that.
Yeah, I also noticed.
And I was always someone who would have been pro vaccine in the past, like very pro science. Like surely all the scientists know what they're talking about and stuff. But then when that happened, I was like, something is really different about this. But then it was like, I remember going to my doctor and telling him that I was very cynical and hesitant about getting the vaccines because of these people who were trying to raise the red flag and all that. And he was like, no, you're being paranoid. Like you're buying into misinformation. They're completely safe. They've been tested and all this stuff. So then I was like convinced that I was kind of going a bit mad. Yeah. Mind you, I was so fragile mentally at this time. So I ended up getting the vaccines, right? And I remember I got these real bad chest pains and was like, I went to the ER twice and was like, something is really not right here. I don't know what's going on. My heart was beating out of time. It wasn't like the normal beat. And it would just feel like something was grabbing my heart, but with like it was surrounded by electricity or something. It was so strange.
One of my friends has that.
Really? And so each time I went in there, they were like, oh no, it's just in your head. Like this is anxiety. So that's when I started going, okay, I'm losing it. And then I was starting to say, okay, all of these, I was genuinely convinced, okay, I might be going crazy. Yeah. So all of these opinions that my intuition was telling me, this isn't right. Something's going on here. Don't trust the mainstream narrative. But the way that the mainstream were going at anyone who was like even just hesitant and labeling them as anti-vaxxers and psychos and all this stuff, I was like, okay, maybe I'm one of them. Like maybe I'm a bit of a psycho and I'm losing it, but they're so hated and I was such a people pleaser, desiring people's approval. It was like, I can't have these views. So I was like writing these songs that were very like, very symbolic, but like all these hidden messages. Like I did a song called The Truman Show, which was all about what I was going through, but in a way that was like not super obvious. Yeah. But I thought people would know exactly what I was talking about. And I think that's where the paranoia came from, because I saw the reaction of how the media were reacting to all these anti-vaxxers and that. So I thought, oh, I'm going to be called that. So it's going to destroy my career if I do this. And that's where I think the paranoia came from. I think it was like a bit of, some of it was rational, but some of it was irrational for sure.
Thank you for sharing that. That's so interesting. And then when did you realize that you're actually normal and you're not paranoid?
I think just over the next couple of years, as like more information came out, it was like very strange. It was a very strange time. Like the propaganda during this period was insane. The more that the scientists kept speaking out, the more support they got, the more people rallied behind them. It didn't seem like this fringe element that I thought it was. And the more the people that were, I guess, hysterically labeling them as like psycho anti-vaxxers, they got less and less extreme, and people from their camp started going, no, hang on, this is actually a thing worth talking about, instead of being so hostile to one another. That's what I hate about the right versus left stuff.
It's the thing that drives me, even if I don't agree with your opinion, by calling one names and labels, It's the stupidest way to get your point out. You're not going to get your point out. If I call you a fuckhead, you're not going to listen to what's coming out next.
Yes. I can't stand it either, man. It's like this. I feel like it's a deliberate tactic to keep everyone completely demoralized and like at odds with one another. It's like this tactic to just be like, okay, label anyone who's on the right a racist, or anyone who's on the left a what would they be labeled? I don't even know.
Nothing springs to mind, but I know. What
like
you
a
mean.
woke psychopath or something like that.
But I don't know. You go on. I despise it on every. It just makes no sense to me. As you said, I truly think it's a way to keep people divided and to fight. And I think the real currency within us is realizing that we've all got so much more in common than not. Even I don't buy into the political stuff. But if you put all of your opinions with, maybe you're a right-leaning person and someone's a left-leaning person, you're going to realize you've got a lot more in common, and it just might be a few topics that you don't get around with. But it's just, I hate it. I think it's stupid.
Yeah.
And that's
become really gross, hey? It's like everyone is pretty much consuming their information from Instagram Reels or like TikTok or something like that. And depending on what side you lean towards, you're going to get fed whatever is in that algorithm.
Becomes like your god in that sense.
Yeah. And it's like all these clips that you're watching are usually taken so far out of context, and it's such an extreme representation of like what the left thinks the right is so extreme, and vice versa.
Yeah, the average person's a normal person that wants politics and all that stuff out of their life.
Yeah,
or at least in my experience. But anyway, I want to tie... your tour. I'd love to know about your tour. What is it, 40, 43? Can you tell me?
Something like that. 44, 43 dates. Wild.
That blows my mind.
Yeah, I've never done one this big before, so it's going to be very interesting, man. I think it'll be about 6 months of touring, which is intense. But I was like, made sure, because we just did a tour that was like a capital cities tour. So it's every Friday and Saturday night. Then we would fly home during the week and go out the next weekend.
Is that so you would be more grounded in like?
I think it's just because like we do. It was if it's only capital cities, we do like 7 weeks. And Fridays and Saturdays it usually sell better.
Yep.
So, but on a regional run, you sort of have to clump them all together. So it'll be like Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday nights each week. But I said when we're booking it, like, let's go like 2 weeks on, 1 week off, and then maybe we'll do 3 weeks on and 1 week off. But we always need a bit of at least a week off here and there every few weeks. Otherwise, it's just going to be too brutal.
And you mentioned before you're doing like a lot of drugs and stuff before shows. Now you do exercise. Is that
so? I was for all the shows prior to this most recent one, I was going to the gym and just smashing a workout. And because I've been weaning off Valium for like the last 5 years, I was still taking Valium before getting on stage. Lower dose.
Wouldn't that make you tired?
It actually would bring me out of my shell.
That's so interesting.
Yeah, man. Very strange. But I think because I would get so nervous, it would calm me down. I'd actually be able to be myself or something. That's what I felt.
Yeah.
And this time around, since finding God, I felt like he was putting it on my heart to not, even though I'm still weaning off it, right, to not take anything before performing. So like we spoke about with the battle rap stuff, I had to just make sure I was so prepared. So I'd got my set down months before the tour started. Everything off by heart, knowing every song that I was going to do. And then I started doing, have you heard of Wim Hof?
Yeah, Wim Hof breathing.
Yeah. So I started doing that.
That's so cool.
Man, I was doing that for an hour before each show.
Oh, you would be on the biggest high.
Man, it was phenomenal. Like, I would feel nervous. I remember the Melbourne show. I was like, oh, this is going to be a train wreck. I was convinced it was going to be horrible. Did the Wim Hof, and it was like all the nervousness turned to excitement. Then I just went out there and was just like, never felt more comfortable in my life, man. It was awesome.
Do you notice that you've got a similar, or if not a better high through doing that?
100%. Yeah. So present up on stage. Had hardly any moments of getting in my head. There was maybe a few moments at one of the shows, but man, it was phenomenal. Like, especially for being the first time I've toured without using anything to calm me down.
Yeah, because
like
that would have
drugs.
been a bit scary as well.
Yeah, for sure. It was a crutch for me. So like, yeah, just that happened. It was just like, man, I was so over the moon. I couldn't believe it because I was convinced it was going to suck.
Isn't that nice that you can trick yourself? Well, not nice that you think it's going to suck, but then realize, I was wrong. Wouldn't that be the greatest feeling? And because you're doing this massive tour, how do you deal with after tours or after shows? Because there is a bit of the adrenaline kind of wears out or whatever the word is.
Yeah. After tours, I always go away for a week.
Oh, nice.
Somewhere. Like if it's summer in Melbourne, I'll just do it somewhere down like in Mornington or somewhere down the coast or something.
Yep.
And just stay somewhere for a week and just chill. But this time it was winter, so I went to the sunny coast for a week.
Oh, nice.
And just had some downtime. That was beautiful, man.
And then you just find that you can like process what you've been able to achieve, and that's really smart. Especially when you go through something like that. And I want to ask one thing in terms of success, because you mentioned, you said like success was linked to your self-worth. So how has your relationship with success changed after going through all of this?
That's such a good question. I think success for me has definitely changed. The definition of success has changed since finding God. Before it would have been, success on a business level, like, okay, money, followers, status, that would be my definition of success. But now it's like, I guess it's like honoring and bringing glory to God is my number one priority in every aspect of my life now. But how that looks is always different. So it's not necessarily saying that with words all the time. It's like, I guess, showing that I can have fun on stage without drugs. I can be full of joy and full of peace without needing any substance anymore. I think that points to God. I think that brings glory to God.
That's so cool. Yeah. So you don't feel the need to do any of this stuff anymore?
No, definitely not. So it's interesting, man. Like, there's no desire for me to take drugs or to drink or party or anything like that, which is amazing. I'm so grateful for that. But the biggest temptation for me is women.
Yeah.
Sex, casual sex, or like just engaging in lust is very difficult for me.
You're probably modest, but I would imagine, given your career and your life, and I think you had a lot of opportunities, especially when you're first starting out. Is that always, when someone's like a celebrity, do you just get people in your DMs and like come over? Is that?
Yeah, man. Oh, mate, I used to play up to it so much. I'd go on like Tinder or like Bumble and stuff like that, and I'd be like putting up pictures of me on stage and or like using my Instagram as like an account to hook up with chicks, and like because you got the verified tick and a lot of followers, it instantly seems to draw them in.
Yeah.
And I would hope to entice them using my status. And it's kind of gross, man. Like I was doing that for years. Just like I was pretty when I first started hooking up with chicks when I was like 20, I would lie to them. Like I would tell them what they want to hear in order to get them into the sack, which ends up hurting them very badly. Yeah. And it's not a nice thing to do. So it got to the point where I didn't want to hurt anyone, and I just did not like the drama that would bring. So I was getting to the point where I was like, okay, I've just got to be honest and say, look, I'm not looking for anything serious. This is just a physical thing. So I thought, because I was saying that it made it okay. And then, so I was just hooking. My house was like a revolving door of just like randoms coming over. But at the same time, I found that they often would still get hurt, Like,
there's always emotion emotions.
Someone
and
would
stuff.
catch feelings, and I do think that, sex is such an intimate part of who we are, and like sharing that with someone is very vulnerable. So to do that in a casual way, I don't think we're made for that. I genuinely don't think we're designed for that. I think we're meant to share it with one person. So when you're doing it with multiples, it's understandable you'll catch feelings for them or feel some sort of bond and all that. But yeah, so yeah, I don't even, where was I going with that?
No, just you're talking about the last side of that's the
Yeah.
temptation.
Yeah, so that's always been a thing where touring, man, at each time, like before every tour, I would line up someone to come to the show and maybe come back to the hotel after if they were feeling it.
So I've always seen this in the movies and TV shows.
Yeah.
Where's the manager being like, the blonde over there? What is that? You said lined up. So what's this actually like?
Nah, it was more me just going, hey, do you want to come to this show, hang out, and maybe catch up after?
Oh, before. Oh, okay.
So I'd prearrange like
Yeah.
each stop. It was almost like I'd put more time into that than the actual show.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it was really interesting, bro. Like I would go hook up with these randoms or whatever. Then they would leave the hotel room and I would be by myself and just feel so depressed, like so lonely. And but I'd just keep doing it anyway because it would give me like this little fix of feeling okay, feeling some sort of comfort. But so that's a battle for me. But it's interesting because like in the past I would engage in like I just go to town, whatever they wanted to do, I'd be down for.
Yeah.
Now it's like it's a minimal version of that. So like it's more engaging in flirting behavior or like them touching me or like there was a certain show where I was real keen to just go out and hang out there with the women in the crowd because there were so many beautiful ones out there. In my head, I was like, all right, what can I do now? Like, what am I allowed to do? I was like, okay, if they touch me while we're getting a photo and they get a bit handsy, I can do that because I'm not doing anything. You know what I mean? I'm just they can do whatever they want kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then I was just like, nah, that's wrong. That's going in with the wrong kind of posture if I'm already
So like trying to find a loophole for.
Yeah. So I think that's still a battle that I'm unlearning a lot of old behaviors.
That's so interesting. I just find that hilarious that, you might be, with all your fans and people are just groping you and touching you. That's so funny. That ain't ever going to happen to me, but that's hilarious. I'll ask the last question before we do a rapid fire segment. You mentioned that you set goals and you used to manifest, or maybe you still do, and you exceeded your expectations. What's it like when you've achieved all of your dreams at that stage?
That's a really good question. I remember when I wrote down this vision board of like everything I wanted to do with my second album. It was like, there was like 15 goals on there. Sell this many records, have this many songs on the radio, play this festival, get this much money in a year. And then every single one got ticked, but like way far exceeded it. And I remember when that happened, it was like, oh, this is awesome. I've achieved everything I ever wanted. But that feeling barely lasted. It was like
interesting,
not satisfying whatsoever. I thought once I got to that level, that would be it. I'd be sorted.
Yeah.
And then I got there and it was like, okay, I'm not sorted. I guess I just got to go for more. And it was like this vicious cycle of just chasing more of that, but never really feeling satisfied with it. And now that's like with what I said about my definition of success, it's not really about that anymore. Like the biggest goal for me now is if people can come to the show, and if they already have faith in God, it's just my prayer and hope that they will leave with a desire to strengthen their faith and to go even deeper with God. And for those who don't have any faith, I just pray that a seed will be planted in their life that will draw them to God. That is really what I want to work for the most.
Interesting. So let's just say, maybe you make a new album that doesn't do as well, but potentially you've impacted more people, and just saying, would that be more rewarding now?
100%.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I would much rather that than any sort of any money or numbers or success in that regard. Yeah.
Oh, cool. Do you want to do a quick rapid fire segment?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, cool. Who's your favorite artist?
Kanye West.
Best rapper in the world?
Eminem.
What was it like opening for him?
Oh man, it was unbelievable. Yeah.
What's been your special ingredient to work all these years?
My special ingredient to work? Tenacity, I think. Yeah.
What's your favorite song of yours?
Tiny Angel.
Oh, nice. What do you do to switch off?
Now it would be prayer, reading the Bible, and spending time with other believers. Yeah.
What would you do if you knew you could not fail?
Share the gospel.
Any advice to people who want to try something different or new, but perhaps a bit fearful of doing so?
Just start, because if you put it off until you're good enough at it, you're never going to start. And you learn so much through those months of you not really knowing what you're doing, but fumbling through it. You learn more than you ever will.
Great advice. Last question before I ask how people can follow you and keep up to date with you. What's the one question I should have asked you?
I think you asked everything.
Oh, cool. And how can people follow you and keep up to date with you?
I'm on Instagram. I share on that quite a bit. On my stories, I share on there quite a bit. I'm also on TikTok. I'm on Facebook and Spotify.
And with your tour, they will also be in the episode notes as well.
Yep.
And pre-sale, I think, is October the 30th.
I'm not sure.
But this will probably be out a bit after that. But everyone check it out in the episode notes. And yeah, thank you so much. I love your story. It's a crazy, empowering story. You're an excellent speaker, and I really appreciate you coming here.
And thank you, man. That was a great conversation. It's also, you know, it's good when it just flies by like that.
Yeah.
Just locked in.